This is my path, my journey. I'm willing to explain it all to you guys. No holding back anything. I just hope you're ready for the experience. And I just hope you can handle it.
Disclaimer. This video was intended for an adult audience only. Viewer discretion is advised. Anything you see in this video, do not attempt to recreate. This video was created for documentation purposes only. Our purpose is education. We are not justifying or glamorizing using substances. What we are doing is educating people on the substances that we have used and what it has done for us. Do not recreate or do not redo the substances we have done just because we talk about it.
What's going on, guys? So, in this video, what I want to talk about is addiction. I'm going to get straight into it because I'm actually feeling pretty nice right now. I took some kratom like not too long ago, probably like 40 minutes ago, and I smoked some cannabis. So I'm feeling pretty nice, and I want to talk about addiction with you guys. Mainly because last night I had an amazing conversation with my friend Phi, his wife, Earth, and my friend Amjad. So my friend is very deep-minded, I guess, in a different aspect because all my friends were very open on what we talk about, and we just talk about our beliefs. And I've dived deep with Phi with with these experiences. And uh, my other friend, what's funny is he's more of a book smart type of guy, like, right? He's like a year away from getting his master's degree. He's like, he just got back from campaigning for like this Democratic Party, that something he was doing, whatever, I don't know, it was something he was doing. But it was like campaigning. He just got back from doing that. um so it's like he's that type of smart, and we but yeah, um he's very open to just me and him have been friends since we went to high school together. But it's just he's been very open to chill and vibe and things. We started hanging out again about a year and a half ago because he could just see the change in me, right? Because he knew me back before I did these substances. And we got on the topic of addiction, and we got on the topic that it's just addiction. Like, he thinks that he's gonna get stuck with, like, with weed. Okay, this is just with just cannabis, right? He thinks that he's gonna get stuck in that feeling, I guess, because we were describing it. We were talking about our experiences with psychedelics, and we kind of dive deep. Like, the conversation ended up getting so goddamn deep that it's the type of conversations we have when we are tripping. Like, it's like it literally felt like an experience. Like, I don't know, it was very deep. And we started talking about just our beliefs and what we're doing. And um it's just we started talking about the substances. And uh and also we started talking about how we don't use these substances every day. Like, psychedelic substances are much different than like other substances. It's hard to explain that to people that have never done them, but it's like you can't do these things every day. You just can't. It's really hard to do these things on a back-to-back basis, because it's like if you do it, you take one hit of L the first day. um the second day you need two hits of L to do the same thing that one hit of L did. The third day you need four hits of L to do the same thing that one did. It's like, and so forth and so on. So it's like it's really hard to, and plus you don't necessarily get addicted to these things. They're more anti-addiction substances. But we got to talking about addiction, and he was kind of saying he's kind of worried about us as a friend. And basically I was saying, I'm kind of worried about you as well, because he takes Adderall. And it's like in his mind it's almost like that's different. But I was trying to explain to him that even somebody who drinks coffee every day, that's not different. Like, addiction, if we're going to talk about addiction here, like, what I really what I'm really going to say is this. Like, if we're going to talk about addiction, this is it. So caffeine, coffee, heroin, fucking whatever. They're all in the same category, I guess. If you want to talk about addiction, yes, there's levels to it, just like there's different levels to drugs. Because people say, "Oh, you're a drug addict," but what is a drug addict? Are you implying that I drink caffeine every single day? Are you implying that I smoke weed every single day? Are you implying that I take heroin every single day? Are you implying that I do meth every day? Are you implying that I do coke every day? Are you like what do you mean drug addict? Because drugs release substances that our bodies already have. Technically, the drug itself never really does anything to you. Like, technically, it's not the drug, it's that thing is like a key that unlocks certain substances that your body already has. Um, so it's like, realistically, it's dopamine, epinephrine, serotonin, you know, endorphins, like these things that our body already has, we can get regardless. Because what is an addiction? Now you can go deeper into, addiction. Some of the things we didn't talk about last night, like it's like, you know, it's like, so what is an addiction? What defies I'm addicted to, I'm an addict? Because so many people think that you have to be doing drugs to be an addict. And there's people who've never touched a drug in their entire life that are addicts. People who eat McDonald's 4 times a week. People that, I don't know, there's so many different types of addicts in the world. You could be a sex addict. You could be a gambling addict. You can be an internet addict. You could be a Facebook addict. You could be a fucking, I don't know, you could be an Instagram addict, addicted to taking pictures. You could be. There's so many. Like, what do you mean addiction? Addiction is so broad of a term, just like drug is so broad of a term. And these words are like created just for that fact, to be broad, to be very not narrow. It's like they don't want it to narrow down to what they actually mean by addict, because then anybody could be an addict. We're all addicts. Realistically, everyone is an addict. It's like people say, even the people that are like totally anti-drug, the people that are totally anti-drug, that are like, y'all never do drugs, drugs are so bad. It's like, if you and they say, yeah, I don't like drugs, whatever, whatever. It's like, if you give them a drug, I guarantee they'll like it, because every fucking body loves drugs. Every human being on the planet loves to feel good. I don't care who you are. You're just in denial if you might not know yourself, because knowing the self is key here. I know myself well enough to know that I'll never do coke, I'll never do meth, I'll never do heroin, I'll never do drugs like that ever. I never have, I never will. I don't need to. I'm very observant to see what that does to people. Um, I've taken addictive substances. It's like I have my own addictions in the world. You know what I mean? It's like kratom is slightly addictive, and I'm slightly addicted to kratom. But who cares? Realistically, that doesn't matter. It's not about necessarily addiction as much as it is that addiction harming your life? Is it destroying your life? Because for me, kratom is basically a nearly free habit, basically. Kratom's pretty affordable. It's not like substances like cannabis, or substances, like cannabis is still pretty high priced, even in legal states. Even in states that are completely legal, you got places that are like $50 eighths, and that's pretty up there. Um, but that doesn't happen. That hasn't happened with kratom, so it's like it's a little different. But when you have drugs that are even there are many drugs in the world, many things you can be addicted to. There are even many supplements you can be addicted to. Like, look at Phenibut, for example. I see so many people that tell me never to try Phenibut, because they're like, don't ever try Phenibut. The addiction's bad, and the withdrawal. And the same thing with tianeptine. I had so many people saying never try tianeptine because the withdrawal is so horrible. And it's like, because of these things, it's like I just know not to do these things. If you're going to do substances, you need to be educated. That is really the key with the addiction thing, because no matter what, you're going to be addicted to something. Whether if you're addicted to caffeine, then you're still an addict. Don't be in denial because you're like, oh, it's just caffeine. That's what the heroin addict says to themselves too. Oh, it's just heroin. But we know that they're in denial, just like, people that don't drink caffeine know that caffeine addicts are in denial, or people that don't smoke cigarettes know that cigarette addicts are in denial, or the same thing with alcohol, or the same thing with, and it's like there are some substances that have a physical withdrawal with the mental withdrawal. Now that's where addiction comes to a complication, because what defies addiction? Are we talking about mental addiction? Are we talking about physical addiction? Are we talking about when you stop taking the substance, you literally feel a physical withdrawal, like you physically feel, I don't know, like you need it? Because there's different types of physical withdrawals as well. Like there's a physical withdrawal with Adderall. Well, I wouldn't say necessarily physical as much as it is mental, but it's a much stronger mental withdrawal than there is with cannabis. Cannabis mental withdrawal is very, very mild. I mean, anyone can, I can't say anyone, but realistically, I could stop smoking cannabis anytime, because there's not going to be any physical withdrawal whatsoever. Now, if I stop taking kratom immediately, with how much kratom I take a day, I would feel a minor withdrawal tomorrow. But it's just, you have to know what you're getting yourself into. There's nothing wrong with being addicted to something. Everyone has their addictions. Whether you're addicted to sex, whether you're addicted to fucking watching YouTube videos, whether you're addicted to learning. You could like literally, I feel like I have a learning addiction, but that's a healthy addiction. But at the same time, you could be addicted to so many different things, not just drugs. We have to stop labeling addiction to just drug addicts, and we need to realize that we are life addicts. We are human beings that are addicted to life. That's what it is. And, you know, we have to learn to cope with that and understand who we are. We're supposed to take substances, we're supposed to take plants. Think about it this way: human beings used to not have cities, used to live in the jungles, right? And they were forced to eat a plant based diet more often. And they were forced to eat plants that had alkaloids more often. They were forced to. They had no fucking choice. And then some of them just did it to pass the time. I mean, look at how many people use kava, you know, to just basically pass the time, to relax after, a long day. How many people in Indonesia for hundreds of years have used kratom, to just help them work harder during a long work day, and maybe to help them relax at the end of the day after work? How many people, you have used psychedelics, indigenous people have used psychedelics to connect with their creator, and to learn and to gain knowledge. And it's like humans have always used substances. We're just, right now we're we have an issue where we have a system that isolates the strongest molecule out of each plant, and then switches it, to make it so they can make money off of it, which ends up making it stronger with more side effects. And then they give it that to us, and then people get addicted to that, and then that, withdrawal is a lot harder of a withdrawal than the withdrawal of the plants are. So it's like, then we judge all fucking withdrawal from the drug withdrawals that they give us, instead of realizing that if we would all go back to just taking plants, we wouldn't have that issue, because plants are synergistic. They have a synergy of molecules that work together. And I gotta get a drink. But I think that we really just need to accept that we are addicts, and it's okay. It's okay. There's I watched this video a while ago. I forget whose video it was, but somebody was saying that well, it might have been Carpo's video. It was a while ago. I watched it though. Somebody was saying that uh Alan Watts, basically, Alan Watts was an alcoholic, okay? And he loved his alcohol. I love my cannabis and I love my kratom, so I understand what it's like to love your substance, or whatever the fuck you do. Alcohol is a weird one to love if you're a philosopher, don't, but at the same time, um, it is what it is. That was just his thing. And there are some people that discredit his information because he was drunk, most of the time, or because he was on alcohol, or he was an alcoholic. So they say, oh, he didn't even really follow his information. He was an alcoholic, so his information, doesn't count. And I call that, I say bullshit. I say his information is just as credible as if it would if he was fucking on heroin or on fucking whatever other drug he fucking liked to do. Who fucking knows? Like people love substances. That is what it is, and if that's what worked for him, that's what worked for him. Because I have my plants that work for me. Now I don't just use the way they described it is that he loved his alcohol. Like he only liked one thing. That was just his thing. Like my thing is like, dude, I love my plants. Like I have a list. I can name you a list of plants that I take, within a month's time. You know what I mean? It's like, but at the same time, it's just, I don't know. That's just my thing, and that's what really works for me. And we all just do what works for each other, what works for us. What works for you is what works for you. Because it might not work for me, but it works for you. And when Watts, I couldn't drink alcohol. Like I've only been drunk once, really, and like I wasn't really drunk, but I was like drunk enough to say, hey, I understand what it means to be drunk, and it was just I didn't like it. I couldn't function on a philosophical mindset. So I give Alan Watts props, for being able to. I mean, it's the same thing with my friend Fi. Like my friend Fi is able to drink wine and like drink a few cups of wine and kind of be in it, but yet still be very philosophical and very deep and not and I don't know. I find that very interesting because I couldn't do that because the way that alcohol makes me feel, it makes me out of my mind. It makes me not be able to think.